Have you ever walked into a room and instantly felt the tension before anyone said a word? Or left a conversation feeling completely drained, even though nothing dramatic happened? So many women in this second season of life can sense energy, but we've rarely been given grounded language for what that actually means. In today's episode, we're talking about how your body reads and broadcasts energy through your head, heart, and gut, and why learning to work with that can change how you feel in your body, in your relationships, and your everyday life. So take a slow inhale and a slightly longer exhale as we jump into this episode, and just notice, what is the energy in your body like right now? Welcome back to Rooted Insights, a podcast for women in their second season of life who spent years caring for everyone else, kids, partners, work, households, holding it all together while quietly putting your own needs on the back burner. If you now find yourself wondering, what's next for me? What do I really want from my life now? And how do I start prioritizing myself without dropping everything else? You're in the right place. Hi, I'm Dr. Kelley, a health and well-being specialist and mind-body expert, and here we blend grounded, science-informed practices into everyday life so we can better support our hardworking nervous systems, emotional health, and step more fully into our authentic selves in this powerful second season of life. In previous episodes, we've talked about your nervous system, the power of pause, grounding with the earth, and even the way your intuition, intention, and imagination co-create your next chapter from the inside out. Today we're going to zoom out and look at something many of us sense but rarely have language for: energy. We'll talk about how it shows up in your body, your health, your moods, and your relationships, and what science is beginning to reveal about the energy field of your heart, your three body brains, and why this matters so much for women in midlife. So if you've ever walked into a room and felt the atmosphere instantly before anyone spoke, or you felt utterly drained after certain conversations, or deeply nourished by others, you're not imagining it. Your body is constantly reading and broadcasting energy, and in this season of life, learning to work with that, not against it, can be a game changer for your health, well-being, and your happiness. I want to start with a simple question. When you hear the word energy, what comes to mind? For a lot of us, especially women who've worked in education, healthcare, or more traditional settings, energy can sound either too vague or too woo-woo, like something for crystals and vision boards, rather than for real-world stress, hormones, careers, and caregiving. But if we strip the word down to its scientific meaning, energy in your body is everywhere. It's the electrical signals firing through your nervous system, like your heartbeats and brain waves. It's the chemical energy your cells make from food and oxygen. And it's the electromagnetic fields generated by your organs, especially your heart and brain. Electrocardiograms, or EKGs, and electroencephalograms, EEGs, are literally ways of measuring your body's electrical energy. The research behind the HeartMath Institute has shown that your heart generates the strongest rhythmic electromagnetic field in the body, electrically about 60 times larger than the brain signals, and magnetically about 100 times stronger or more, and is detectable several feet away by using sensitivity instruments. So when you say, her energy feels calm, or I feel off, you're actually describing real, measurable shifts in your internal signaling and fields, not something imaginary. So energy isn't woo, it's biology, and it's running your day. In this episode, I want to help you understand three big pieces of your energy system. First, the heart's energy field and its so-called little brain. Next, the three brains of your body, head, heart, and gut, and how they communicate with one another, your surrounding environment, and with you. And finally, simple, science-informed practices to tend to your energy day to day, especially as a woman in midlife navigating hormones, stress, and big life transitions. So let's start with your heart. Most of us were taught that the heart is a mechanical pump following orders from the brain. That's not wrong, but it's wildly incomplete. Neurocardiology, or the science of the heart's nervous system, has shown that your heart has its own complex network of about 40,000 neurons, often called the intrinsic cardiac nervous system, or the heart's little brain. This little brain senses mechanical and chemical changes in the heart in real time. It also makes local decisions about heart rhythm and contraction beat by beat. And it communicates with the brain via the autonomic nervous system, especially the vagus nerve. Here's the part that still surprises many people. The communication between your heart and your head is mostly bottom up, not top down. Roughly 80% of the nerve fibers in the major heart-brain pathways are afferent, meaning they send information from the heart up to the brain, not the other way around. So your heart is constantly telling your brain about the state of your body and environment, influencing the areas that handle things like emotion and fear with the amygdala, attention and focus, decision-making and problem-solving, and self-regulation and stress responses. On top of that, the heart's electromagnetic field is not just strong, it permeates every cell in your body and extends into the space around you. HeartMath and others describe it as a global synchronizing signal, a kind of carrier wave that can organize rhythms in the body and potentially interact with the fields of others nearby. This means that when your heart rhythms are chaotic, when you're in prolonged frustration, resentment, or anxiety, that chaos is being broadcast internally to your brain and tissues and externally into your relational space. When your heart rhythms are more coherent, like in states of appreciation, compassion, and grounded calm, that type of coherence becomes the broadcast instead. For women in this mid-season of life, who often serve as the emotional center of families, work environments, classrooms, teams, and communities, this is profound. You aren't only reacting to energy, you're generating it. Your heart rhythm patterns and fields can either amplify stress in your body and your home, or they can become a stabilizing, regulating presence for you first, and then for others around you. So now let's talk about your three brains. This isn't just a metaphor. Each of these centers has real neural networks and makes its own kind of contribution to your health and daily conscious and unconscious decisions. Your head brain is the one we're most familiar with. Let's call it the storyteller. It's the classic brain, your cortex, limbic system, and all the parts that handle thinking, planning, remembering, analyzing, worrying, storytelling, etc. It's brilliant at things like linear problem solving and language, anticipating threats and running what-if scenarios, and making sense of past experiences and postulating on future possibilities. But it can also get stuck in loops, as most of us know, especially under chronic stress, hormonal changes, and sleep deprivation. In midlife, many women notice more worrying, overthinking, and brain fog, partly because the brain is processing years of overload plus current transitions, often on a background of fluctuating estrogen and stress hormones. Next is your heart brain, or the integrator. Your heart brain, or intrinsic cardiac nervous system, is constantly sampling what's happening in your body and translating it into a rhythm that your head brain can feel and respond to. From research, it shows the heart's neural network can learn, adapt, and show memory-like behavior in how it responds to inputs. Your heart signals also influence emotional processing, attention, perception, and even higher cognitive functions. People literally think more clearly when their heart rhythms are coherent. And finally, the heart's field is strong enough to be detected several feet away. And there's evidence that our hearts may respond to and influence each other's fields, which may be part of why some people feel easy to be around and others feel draining. Energetically, your heart brain is like an integrator. It's constantly asking, are we safe? Are we connected? What's true for us right now? And it sends that information upward to shape how your head perceives your world. Finally, the gut brain. This is our deep listener. The gut brain, also known as the enteric nervous system, is a huge network of neurons lining your digestive tract, sometimes called the second brain. It can function semi-independently of your head brain, and it communicates via nerves, hormones, and immune signals. The gut-brain axis and gut-heart-brain axis are real, two-way communication systems. Stress and difficult emotions can change gut motility, acid secretion, and microbiome balance, which can show up as IBS-like symptoms, bloating, discomfort, or appetite changes. Gut inflammation or microbiome imbalance can in turn influence mood, anxiety, and even cognition through immune and neurotransmitter pathways. Up to 90% of your body's serotonin, for example, is produced in the gut. And then there's the vagus nerve. It's a major highway linking the gut and heart to the brain. When vagal tone is low under chronic stress, both digestion and emotional regulation can suffer. Energetically, your gut brain is like your deep listener or instinct center. It often speaks through sensations like tightness, nausea, butterflies, heaviness, or a quiet sense of this feels right or something's wrong here. That's that gut instinct. The head, heart, and gut are linked through a complex network of nerves, hormones, and immune signals, ensuring they constantly communicate and co-regulate. Under chronic stress, high responsibility, and hormonal shifts, things many women in midlife know intimately, this network can become skewed. The head brain gets louder with more worry, rumination, catastrophizing, and the heart rhythms get more erratic, less coherent, and more on edge. Then the gut brain shows distress, digestive upsets, food sensitivities, or flares when stress and sleep are off. When you support your energy from the bottom and middle up through the heart and gut, you're not bypassing the head. You're giving it a better signal to work with. You're saying, let's shift the broadcast so the story in my mind has a different foundation to work from. So if you're like most women in this season of life, you've been taught to live almost entirely from your head. Thinking, planning, worrying, organizing, holding the mental load for everyone. But your body actually has at least 3 major brains that are constantly talking to each other and shaping how you feel and what you choose. Your head, your heart, and your gut. Think of them as 3 wise women sitting around a table inside you. Your head brain is the strategist. She's great at remembering, planning, analyzing, and running all the what-ifs. She lives in the skull and holds billions of neurons dedicated to thought and perception. Your heart brain is the integrator. Inside your heart is its own little nervous system. Tens of thousands of neurons that help regulate your heartbeat and send a constant stream of messages up to your brain about how safe, connected, or stressed you are. And your gut brain is the deep listener. Lining your digestive tract are hundreds of millions of neurons, your enteric nervous system. These coordinate digestion and send emotional and intuition-like signals through the vagus nerve and hormones to your brain. In midlife, when hormones are shifting and your responsibilities are high, these 3 often fall out of sync. The strategist gets loud and anxious, the integrator in your heart feels tired or shut down, and the deep listener in your gut starts whispering through IBS-like symptoms, bloating, or appetite changes that something just isn't working anymore. You don't have to figure this all out intellectually. One of the kindest things you can do is simply give all 3 a chance to be heard together. So here's an exercise you can try called the 2-minute Council of 3 practice. You can do this seated, standing, or even lying down, as long as it's safe and comfortable for you to do so. And if it's available, you might close your eyes or otherwise just soften your gaze. So starting at your head, name the story. Bring to mind one situation in your life that's been taking a lot of mental space. Maybe a decision, a relationship, or a health concern. Silently ask your head, what story are you telling me about this? And notice the first sentence that comes. It might be, I have to hold everything, or I'm behind, or it's too late for me to change, or I'm overwhelmed and not sure what to do about this. You're not fixing it, just letting the strategist speak. Now, gently place a hand over the center of your chest and focus on your heart. Feel its rhythm. Take 3 to 5 slower breaths, letting your exhale be a little bit longer than your inhale if that's comfortable. This kind of breathing has been shown to help your heart rhythm become more coherent and send calmer signals to your brain. Then ask your heart, how do I actually feel about this situation? And see if 1 or 2 words arise. Maybe it's tired, hopeful, resentful, relieved, grateful, scared, or unsure. Let that truth be there without judgment or trying to change or fix it. Next, we're going to focus on your gut. Slide your attention down into your belly, pelvis, and low back area, and you might actually rest your other hand on your lower abdomen. Notice any sensations there. Maybe it's tightness, warmth, heaviness, fluttering, or maybe a surprising sense of calm. Then you're going to ask your gut, What do you know about this for me right now? You might not get words, just a sense of leaning toward or away from something, or an inner yes, no, maybe, or not yet. The enteric nervous system is constantly talking and communicating to your brain about stress, safety, and nourishment. This is you learning to listen. So then you want to take one more slow breath, and you're going to ask all three together. What's one tiny next step that would respect my head, my heart, and my gut a little more this week? It might be scheduling a real conversation about something instead of replaying various iterations of it continuously in your mind. It could be saying no to one extra commitment, or taking 10 quiet minutes to eat without rushing so your gut can actually digest. Trust the first small doable thing that appears. You don't have to overhaul your life today. Each time you pause to check in with this inner council of your head, heart, and gut, you're slowly retraining your nervous system out of head-only survival mode and into a more whole, wiser version of you that's deeply needed in this season of your life. So let's bring this into your day-to-day life with a few simple, science-supported practices focused on energy and the three brains. You don't have to do all of these. Think of them as options your future self will thank you for. Practice number 1, heart field reset. So we'll build on the Heart Math Institute style practice and add an energy lens. Anytime you notice your thoughts racing or the emotional tone in a room feeling jagged, you're going to place a hand over your heart and then breathe a bit more slowly and deeply, 4 to 6 seconds in and out, imagining breath flowing in and out of your heart area specifically. Then you want to bring up a genuine feeling of appreciation or care for a person, a pet, a place, or even a small everyday gratitude like having fresh warm water or the morning sunlight. As you do this, remind yourself, right now I'm changing the rhythm and energy field my body is living in. I'm broadcasting a different pattern to my brain and to the space around me. For women in this season, I especially recommend trying this before you walk into a difficult conversation, after you read the news or see something upsetting, or anytime you catch yourself saying, I'm running on fumes, or I just can't take it anymore. Practice number 2, the gut check pause. At least once a day, pause before you make a decision, even a small one, like what am I having for dinner, and include your gut. Bring the decision or situation to mind. Gently notice what your gut area feels like around that pending decision, like tight, spacious, knotted, fluttery, neutral, or excited. Then ask, gut, what do you know about this? Do you have anything to share with me? And wait a few breaths. You might not get words. You might just feel more at ease with one option more than the other. And over time, as you calm your levels of stress and better support your digestion, your gut signals will become clearer. This can be especially helpful around food choices when stress or emotional eating has been a pattern, or commitments when your mind says, I should do this and go there, but your body says, no more, we're done. Or relationships where your gut has been whispering for years that something needs to change with a person or situation that just doesn't resonate with this version of you anymore. Supporting your gut energy also looks like very practical basics: getting better sleep, eating more fiber, and if possible, more diverse, healthy foods, and less constant grazing, and simple stress practices like deep breathing, gentle movement, all things that have been shown to help the gut-brain axis function more smoothly. Practice number 3, head-brain hygiene to really protect your mental energy. Your head-brain loves inputs and stories. In this season of life, you can protect its energy by being more intentional about what you feed it. Here's a few simple experiments. Setting media boundaries. Choose one time block in the day that's completely news and social media free to really let your cognitive and emotional load settle. Or, like we've suggested in previous episodes, a whole day, media-free Mondays. Even brief breaks can reduce perceived stress and improve focus. Another experiment is single task moments. Once a day, do one thing at a time. Drink your tea, sip your coffee, answer one email, or return one text, fold laundry, water your plants, or eat a healthy meal. Any of these things without scrolling or multitasking. This trains your brain to settle into one coherent rhythm instead of constant fragmentation. Finally, experiment with thought labeling. When a familiar worry loop shows up, name it as a story or a thought, not a fact. Then shift your attention back to your heart or gut sensations. That simple relabeling can reduce the emotional charge and pull you back toward embodied awareness. Think of this as energy hygiene for your mind. You're reducing static so you can hear the quieter signals coming from your heart and gut more easily. So let's go a little bit deeper with the thought labeling because this is such a difficult and normal thing to deal with. If it feels okay, let your eyes soften or close them and take one slower breath in and a longer breath out. Now bring to mind a situation that's been looping in your head lately. It might be about money, a relationship, your body, or a big life question in this mid-season of life. Just pick one that's been taking up your mental space. Notice what your mind starts to say about it. You might hear something like, I'm never going to catch up, or if I set this boundary, they'll be upset forever, or my body is the problem, why isn't it working the way I want it to? Or I'm always running out of money, where am I going to get more? Or it's too late for me to change. Whatever shows up first is perfect. Now gently name it as a story instead of a fact. You might say silently to yourself, I see you, money story. There's never going to be enough. Well, that's a thought, not a fact. Or, I see your relationship story. I have to keep everyone happy or always say yes and agree or I'll lose them. That's a story my mind is telling me, not a guaranteed truth. Or, there you are, body story. My body is broken. Why won't it just work the way I want it to? That's an old narrative, not the whole reality of my body today. Let your words be kind, almost like you're acknowledging a child who keeps repeating the same worry. Then add one more line. This is a thought my head brain is having. Let me check in with my heart and gut too before I decide what's true for me right now. Feel your hand on your heart or just imagine it there. Take one more slow breath, letting your exhale be just a little longer. You don't have to fight the thought or prove it wrong. Just labeling it as a story creates a little more space. Space for your heart and gut to have a vote, and space for a gentler, more accurate truth to emerge over time. When you're ready, you can blink your eyes open or bring your attention back to the room, keeping that sense of a little more space around your thoughts. Then moving on to practice number 4, the 3-brain alignment check-in. Once this week, give yourself 3 to 5 quiet minutes to do a full 3-brain check. Everyone has 3 to 5 minutes a week to spend on themselves if they choose. You can do this seated, with your hand on your heart, eyes open or closed. Then you're going to ask 3 questions. For your head, ask what story is my mind telling right now? Notice the main theme. I'm behind, I have to handle everything, something's wrong with me, or maybe I'm allowed to change. Then check in with your heart and ask, what am I actually feeling? See if you can name 1 or 2 emotions. Tired, hopeful, anxious, grateful, sad, peaceful. Notice your heart area, your chest, and your breath. Then check in with your gut. What is my body saying about this season of my life? Tune into your belly, your pelvis, your lower back region. Does it feel braced, heavy, relaxed, or quietly strong? Then ask, what tiny shift would help these 3 be a little more on the same team today? Maybe your head needs less input. Your heart needs 60 seconds of coherence. And your gut needs you to sit down and eat slowly for once, or drink more water today. Just choose one thing. For women in midlife, this kind of alignment is not a luxury. It's a way of honoring your changing biology and the new level of truth your body is asking for. So let's tie this back to why this isn't just interesting, it's important. As you move through perimenopause, menopause, and the years beyond, your body is renegotiating almost every system. Reproductive, cardiovascular, metabolic, and emotional. At the same time, your roles are shifting. Kids growing up or leaving home, parents aging, careers changing, and shifting identity questions emerging. Energy-wise, this often looks like more sensitivity to stress in chaotic environments, or less tolerance for misaligned commitments and relationships. and bigger mood swings in mood or energy when you override your own needs for someone else's. Working with your energy through the heart field, the gut-brain axis, and the three brains isn't about becoming perfect or quote-unquote high vibe. It's about supporting your cardiovascular and emotional health by cultivating heart coherence and heart-brain communication that supports resilience. It's about supporting digestion, immune function, and mood by tending to the gut-brain axis and vagal tone, something we'll go deeper into in an upcoming episode about the important vagus nerve. And it's about freeing your head brain from carrying everything alone, so it can do what it does best without drowning in static noise and outdated nonsense. In a way, energy work in this season is about moving from my mind must control everything to my whole system can collaborate. Your heart, gut, and head each bring their own type of wisdom. When you let them work together, your health and your life become much more sustainable and enjoyable. As you move through this week, here are a few gentle questions you might hold in your awareness. If my heart is broadcasting a field into my body and into the space around me, what do I want that field to feel like? For me first, and then for the people I love and care about. And where have I been living almost entirely from my head, and what might change if I let my heart and gut have a vote and a voice too? And what's one simple practice I'm willing to try this week? A heart field reset, a gut check pause, or a three-brain check-in to help my energy feel 5% more coherent and kind. You don't need to transform your whole system overnight. Every small act of paying attention, like breathing with your heart, listening to your gut, softening those stories in your mind, all begins to change the energy you live in and the energy you surround yourself with, attract, and share with others. If this episode helped you feel more seen in the way your energy moves through your body in your days in this new season of life, I'd love for you to keep walking with me here on Rooted Insights. Follow, like, or subscribe so you don't miss upcoming episodes. And if it feels supportive, leaving a rating, review, or positive comment truly helps other women in this mid-season of life find these grounded, science-informed, and heart-centered conversations. And I'd love to hear from you. Which brain are you needing to tend to more right now? Head, heart, or gut? And what's one tiny thing you're willing to try this week to bring the other two more online? Maybe it's a daily heart field reset. Maybe it's a gut check before you say yes. Maybe it's a media boundary to give your head a little more peace. Your reflection might be exactly what another woman needs to remember she's not alone in learning new ways to relate to her energy. And as I mentioned in an upcoming episode, we're going to dive into the vagus nerve, the main highway connecting your three brains. We'll explore how vagal tone shapes your mood, digestion, heart health, and sense of safety, and simple practices you can use to support a more regulated, balanced life in this powerful new season. Remember, you're not behind. You're in a new season of your life, and your energy, your heart, your gut, and your mind has carried you this far. You're allowed to tend to it now, not as a luxury, but as a foundation for the life you're creating next. We're here, rooting in together, one beat, one breath, one aligned choice at a time. Until next time on Rooted Insights.